Before someone says a single word, your brain has already started writing a story about them. Not because you know who they are, because you think you do. The strange part isn't that this happens, it's that the story can survive, long after the evidence says it was wrong. This is the mind we share. Today, we're exploring one of the fastest decisions your mind ever makes, and one of the hardest to undo. Imagine you're waiting at an airport. Your flight has been delayed. Your phone battery dies. You quietly look around, and before you even ask, the stranger sitting beside you slides a charger across the empty seat. You hesitate for barely a second. Then, you take it. You don't know their name. You don't know where they're going. You don't know anything about them. Yet somehow, trusting them feels completely natural. Now imagine the exact same moment, same airport, same delay, same charger, but this time, something feels different. Nothing about the facts has changed, only your feeling. And somehow, that feels like evidence. So what exactly happened during that tiny pause? Long before your conscious mind had time to think, another part of your brain had already begun answering a much older question. Safe or not safe, not friend, not enemy, simply safe enough. Thousands of years ago, that question helped people survive. Today, it still quietly shapes the people we trust, the people we avoid, and sometimes the opportunities we never even realize we walked away from. Researchers at Princeton wanted to know just how quickly this judgment appears. So they try something remarkably simple. People were shown the face of a complete stranger for only 1/10 of a second, less time than a blink. Then they answered one question. Does this person seem trustworthy? Later, other participants looked at the exact same faces. This time, they had much longer. Half a second, a full second, as much time as they wanted. You might expect the answers to change. They barely did. The first impression had already settled in. More time didn't create a new judgment, it mostly strengthened the first one. But here's the uncomfortable part. Your brain wasn't reading character. It couldn't. There wasn't enough information. Instead, it was responding to tiny visual signals, the gentle curve of a resting mouth, slightly raised eyebrows, a face that quietly resembles someone who is already smiling. Not honesty, not kindness, not trustworthiness, just something that reminds the brain of them. Sometimes that's enough. So, if those first impressions happen that quickly, can we ever really escape them? Researchers wanted to find out this time. They didn't just ask people what they thought, they gave them something real to lose. Money, participants played an investment game. Some saw nothing more than another person's face. Others also received information about how that person had behaved before. Real evidence, real history, real behavior. If first impressions were only temporary, the evidence should have won. It didn't. The trustworthy-looking faces still received more trust. Even after people were given facts, the face continued whispering its opinion, quieter than before, but still there. That's the uncomfortable thing about intuition. It doesn't disappear just because reality arrives. Years ago, a father admitted something that had quietly followed him for almost a decade, the first time his daughter introduced the man she would later marry. He didn't trust him. Nothing happened. No argument, no warning, no reason he could explain. There was simply a feeling, something about his face, too calm, too smooth, too easy to like. And although he never spoke those thoughts aloud, they quietly shaped everything that came after: family dinners, birthdays, holidays. Always polite, never completely close. The distance remained for years. Then life interrupted the story. The father became seriously ill, not all at once, slowly. The kind of illness that gives everyone enough time to choose whether they'll keep showing up. And every morning before work, his son-in-law arrived. Groceries, doctor appointments, long afternoons in waiting rooms, late nights beside a hospital bed. Sometimes they barely spoke, sometimes they didn't need to. Slowly, the story his mind had written began rewriting itself. Nothing about his face had changed, only the evidence had. Maybe that's where real trust begins, not inside the first impression, but in everything that happens after it. The first impression is a prediction. Trust is the proof. One is written in seconds, the other takes time. Your brain was never trying to know someone. It was only trying to make its best guess, with almost no information at all. Sometimes that guess protects you. Sometimes it quietly blinds you. Somewhere near the beginning of this video, you probably decided whether I sounded trustworthy. You didn't mean to. Your brain simply did what it has always done. The difference is, now you know what happened. So here's one question to carry with you. Think about the person you trusted the fastest, not the person you trust the most. The person you trusted first. Were they the same person? If they weren't, what changed? Their face didn't. The evidence did. Maybe first impressions aren't lies. They're simply the first draft. Real trust is everything that gets written after the first chapter. If this made you rethink even one first impression, subscribe to The Mind We Share. Because the mind doesn't become more interesting the more answers it finds. It becomes more interesting the moment it starts questioning the stories it already believes. See you in the next episode.